Marvin Southard, Director of Mental Health for Los Angeles County and the leader of the entourage. So Dean Flynn, thank you for the idea of positioning us in this way. And I think the main thing I want to say is that Metta World Peace has been for us in Los Angeles County not just a celebrity, not just a world-class athlete, not just a leader of our Lakers basketball team, but really a force in our community for the betterment and the empowerment of people suffering from mental illness. I've seen Metta in action in a lot of circumstances, playing on the basketball court and dominating the court as he works. But even more impressive is that I have seen him in basketball gyms with full of 500 teenagers. And sometimes I've had the occasion to try to give a speech to these 500 teenagers before they while they're waiting for Metta to appear. And let me just say, they don't seem to be paying much attention. But as soon as my friend shows up, everything changes. They're galvanized. The attention is perfect. And as he tells his story and engages them, as he tells his story, they really get involved in it. But that's not the most impressive part. The really most impressive part is the job that you do when you do the question and answers. And sometimes they have good questions, and sometimes they have embarrassing questions, and sometimes they have odd questions, but you handle them all by treating the individual people with respect. And in doing so, you're able to convey the message that you want to convey, which is that each of them is important. And as you share your story, in your story, they hear their story. And I'm not necessarily an emotional person, but there have been times when I'm listening and watching the faces of these young people as you engage with them, where I end up feeling choked up because I know that a connection has been made. And for these young people, their lives are going to be better because they have had the opportunity of knowing and engaging with you. So please join me in welcoming my friend, Metta World Peace.
Thanks for that introduction. And my entourage, posse. And when I first had the concept of trying to give back to people, because people have given back to me when I was a teenager, and that was 5 years ago or 7 years ago when I was in Sacramento. We wanted to form online support systems, and we wanted to do it through YouTube. I was about 25 years old. I didn't know how to reach out, to people such as yourself, and I didn't know how to reach out to the masses of children and even adults who needed, help with mental health issues. So we was going to do an online counseling session where we get 12 to 20 different kids, different problems, with social workers, in the room and film it. And we wanted to obviously get consent from the parents. And we wanted to have each child address their problems, because when I was taking my psychology classes or counseling and therapy and marriage counseling, anger management counseling, parenting counseling, I had to pay for these services and they were very expensive. So I wanted to see how can we, help children that can't pay for these services, or teenagers that can't pay for these services. And one of the best decisions I've made was coming to LA. And I don't know how I got here, but it's not about the Lakers, it's more about the access that I had, to the world, and getting the message out, to the fans around, from China to Russia to even New York and Miami, where, other teams, they don't carry that same weight. So for me, being a Laker means more than just being a basketball player. It gave me a platform, to get the message out in front of 40 million people at one time. During the championship, I told the world I wanted to thank my psychologist. I said my psychiatrist, I didn't even know the difference at 30 years old. And then she called me the next morning and said, hey, I'm a psychologist. I said, sorry. And the message got out, and people were, some people they judged, a couple people called me crazy, but I didn't care. I'm like, I knew what I was doing. I knew that I was going to empower somebody, and some of those same people that criticized me the next day, the journalists, some of the same people thought about it and said, hey, thank you. Some of those same people probably had some issues with themselves. And so now a lot of these journalists, they don't give me that much slack anymore in the media. They say how much of a great person I am. I actually helped them. But, I had a lot of issues growing up as a child. When you grow up as a child, all you know is the good things in life, but you adapt quick, to your environment, whether it's your house, dysfunction in your household, dysfunction in your community, and you think those things are just, is the right thing. You think a father fighting with his mom is just the right thing, or a brother fighting in the street is just normal, but actually it's not. And so my thing is prevention and trying to, slow down this cycle and then hopefully destroying this cycle, which is it's gonna be hard, but I think it can be done with the more support that we get from people like myself, people like yourself. And my little sister, she's 21 now. She was in a psychiatric institution since she was 13 years old. She's 21, just got out at the age of 19. My little brother, he was in since he's about 10 years old, missed his whole childhood and teenage years, and he's about 29 now. He just got out the halfway house when he was 27. My older brother did about 10 years in jail. My dad functioned on medication. My auntie's still in the institution since I was like 12 or 10. I'm 33 now. She's probably never coming home. And my older auntie, she's functional on medication. And so seeing that made me want to help, and give back. And I'm proud, I'm not afraid to let people know, my mission and what I've been through. And most importantly, I feel comfortable with myself, and I want to empower other people to feel comfortable with themselves. So that's why I think it's important that, I come out and let people know I see psychologists. Now, during the championship, right in the morning, I had to fly my psychologist in because I couldn't focus on the game. And I had to fly in to talk and clear my mind. And it wasn't a major issue. It wasn't like a bipolar, disorder or anything like that. I felt pressure, and I needed somebody to speak to. And that's a minor issue. That's just a sports-related issue. But it's these type of issues where, I believe that if it can add on. One small problem can, make a bigger problem. And I don't know the science behind it, but I'm assuming if you're depressed and you don't address the issues, it can become a bigger problem. And so it's all about prevention for me. And I also believe, the more we empower our children and teens, the better educated they will become. A lot of people can't focus in the classroom, because they have problems. I know I couldn't focus in the classroom at an early age because I had problems at home, and I had anger issues. And when I got to college, I started to do better. So I believe that mental health awareness and helping people with mental health issues can help them. Obviously, in education, in the classroom, and I'm assuming that also a lot of homeless people have mental issues also. So a lot of people trying to help. The homeless, but you gotta get their mind right first, I believe. So I'm in this for the long haul, and it's cool. Actually, I think the LA County Department of Mental Health reached out to us. I forgot how our relationship happened, but we connected, And I didn't know it was that, many people that was for this, issue. And it's cool that I get a chance to continue to be here and other cities. And we even did some things in Canada on Hastings Street. I know there's a big homelessness issue over there, mental health issue over there. So we even trying to spread this thing out and help out. Yeah. It was a tough visit. I visited Hastings Street and it was a tough visit, but they need the support just like we needed. And I know you got some questions today too. I think we had some Q&As, and I just wanted to give y'all a little bit about myself, and yeah. And I appreciate all of you. Yes.
No, I'll pass the mic if anybody has a question, so.
Oh, so he has I think we,
I think that you speak for an hour without the mic.
He said what?
Metta World Peace, what made you change the name, sir?
What made me change my name? It was two things. I'm definitely a character. I love TV. That's definitely one of the reasons I came to LA. I love TV. I said I have to get to LA so I can be on camera. But I want to be a little bit responsible. And I was like, it was a point in time where I wasn't being responsible with my message. So I said, you know what? You can continue to have fun and entertain on TV, but you have to have some responsibility. So that's why everything that we do, we try to make sure we're being inspirational. Like I was going to come out with a book this year, but we decided to come out with a children's book first before we come out with my book. We won a championship ring. All right, we're going to have a lot of fun and maybe get all these other opportunities, but okay, let's donate the ring. Let's make sure we do something inspirational. It takes nothing but, a tweet and a raffle. Nothing that's coming out of my pocket. It's things like that that made me, and to get back to your question about changing my name, we had a lot of other names. And me and Heidi decided to make sure we could at least send a message, and it could still be as entertaining as you want. So people can still ask questions, and have opinions, and you can still get a lot of buzz off the name change, but what is that name going to be? Is it just going to be something where I can just entertain, or can it be both? And we accomplished both. I'm still doing Comedy Central stuff, I'm still on Fox stuff, and I'm still here today. So that was, so it took a while for us to get to the name, but we got there, and we our goal was to do both, and we did it.
Hi, good evening. We're from the United Kingdom.
Yes.
And a few of our sports personalities, one or two, have come out and said that they've had mental health issues. And what they've said is that they were quite concerned about the response from the playing partners and so on, but that was very positive. I mean, what was your experience when you sort of came up with the issue?
Well, at first it was, something like "There Goes Ron Again," which is Ron Artest at the time, and "There Goes Ron Again," and people just thought it was a stunt because it generated so much press, but it wasn't a stunt. I didn't know that I would be here today. When I said that, I was just happy that we won a championship. I had to thank my psychologist. So when I did come out, I did get some negative feedback that could have, made me, not want to talk to people, because it's very uncomfortable when you have people judging you all the time. I've been on the other side before. I saw my psychologist when I was 25 years old. When I started to really embrace it more, I was on the side at the age of 23 where I didn't like to even be around people, because I never knew what people were thinking about me. So when I got past that, it really didn't bother me that people knew I was seeing a psychologist. And if I had to see a psychiatrist, I would. I got diagnosed again, and my thing was, for me, they wanted me to take marriage counseling, parenting class, and anger management class. So I was seeing 3 psychologists at one time. It was crazy. But we got through it.
Yes.
I'm wondering
why you should be the only one on the team who's seeing a psychologist. It really strikes me, I'm serious about that. Shouldn't there be more of this kind of support in sports generally? Because you're not the only person who feels the pressure, or who gets down, or has trouble with, traveling and being away from family, and all these other things that happen to the players. So why is it still relatively closed?
I think one of the reasons why you don't hear a lot more people coming out and addressing their issues, and just addressing your issue on TV, on the radio, internet, wherever, it sends out such a powerful message. You actually help more people, than you could imagine. But when I was 19 years old, I was diagnosed, and it was just, they just generalized it. It was just, you have an issue, what medication was your father on? They didn't diagnose me the right way, and that happens a lot. So with that being said, a lot of people are afraid, to get help. But I do have people on my team asking for help. They come to me and say, can I see a psychologist? So, I can't say who, but people do. And I introduce them, to my psychologist. But I think, in our profession, from coaches, teachers, even officers, firemen, I think everybody should know some type of psychology, counseling, therapy type class. They should have the one-on-one of that and know how to talk to people, approach people, and, so people can feel comfortable. And then, it's important that we diagnose people the right way, I believe. So everybody have a chance, and then they'll feel better, wanting to get help. And it's never been addressed. Now it's being addressed more and more, I believe, from everything that's happening in the media, and they're talking about it more now. So I think the more and more they talk about it, I think people like yourself could make sure, the athletes, the students are getting the right help, being diagnosed the right way if they need it. Yes.
As I said earlier, I was really impressed by the way you're able to connect with the kids when you give them your message. Is there a particular idea that you're trying to convey to the youth when you're addressing them?
Yeah, I think one of the main things I try to convey to the youth when I'm talking to them is when you're helping yourself, you should feel comfortable and you're trying to improve yourself. Whether you're trying to get in shape, whether you have issues, you should feel comfortable with yourself first, and you should feel comfortable if you're trying to improve yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with being who you are. If you are bipolar, it's just who you are at this time, and you should feel comfortable that you're trying to improve yourself. I never felt it was an issue or a problem, or you should feel sad because you're bipolar. It's natural, it's normal. And that's what I always try to tell these kids. And as long as you love yourself, that's all that matters, and that's why, people, when I'm out doing things in the media or whatever, people just can't get over the fact that I will enjoy myself. It's just gonna happen. I feel very happy, that I'm spontaneous, or I'm different. It's just who you are, But as long as you, trying to improve yourself first, I think that's all that matters. And, the more and more I get in front of people such as yourself, and the more support, I feel more comfortable being myself and helping. There was a point in time where I didn't want to do things like this because I wasn't as responsible as I wanted to be. I wasn't the person that I wanted to be. So I always would wait I just wanted to wait till I was like 40 years old, where no more issues would come up, and then I could just be positive. But I made a decision just to, to start now and, start the process. On the mental health side, I think the parents, since this is being talked about, parents probably, should be diagnosed too. Definitely. They should, your child probably should not be allowed to go to school right? Until at least you address some of these problems and maybe can prevent some stuff from happening. It's just everybody has ideas, you know, but I believe like the parent, a lot of parents are at fault. And then the kid, you know, grows into a teenager and obviously into an adult, and they have issues, but I believe it can be prevented. I believe it can be prevented, especially, you know, maybe a kid's in kindergarten and the parent says, hey, this is what we've been through in our household. So you might, you know, see some of these issues from my child. You know, I know in my household, my parents fought, and I did the same thing in school. I don't know why, but I was getting into fights I got suspended like almost every other month. And for some reason, they kept me in a great school. I don't know how I survived it, but they kept me in the school. The great counselors and a great, you know, vice principal, and they kept me in. But after a while, I'm like, yeah, you know, I can't let that affect me. So it took me 25 years to start to address it. So I think the parents, you know, probably should be held more accountable, you know, for the way the child is raised. And then on the other side of that is like, you know, you got a lot of single mothers, so it's hard, you know, to raise a child. So they should just address these issues, you know, and a counselor, a teacher should know this before a student goes into a room. I'm sure some of these teachers don't even know. They probably could guess, but they don't know who exactly is raised in a single household or dysfunctional household. You know, and I think that's more important than, you know, math at sometimes. Because you can be a great math student with all these mental issues. What's that going to do? What good is that going to do for you? You know, I think a couple of these college students that was having problems with the shootings and stuff, they're very smart kids. But what good is that? You know, if your mind is not right.
I want to thank you first for our community, because you've been very active in our community and a local role model, coming to the students very directly on more than one occasion, on many occasions. But I also know you're a national role model in that you've been active trying to influence new legislation for students' mental health in schools. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, definitely. Well, I was excited to work with Congresswoman Napolitano on trying to get, you know, a bill passed, and we went to the White House like 2 years ago, and we had about 41 Democratic votes on one of the bills. We needed, I think, like 3 Republican votes to kind of get it going, but it didn't happen. So we went back this year. We got more support, you know, on the Republican side. And, you know, I'm not a politician, but I thought if I could help that I would, whatever I had to do. And that's one of the reasons why a couple years ago, 7 years ago, we wanted to start the YouTube kind of counseling sessions for kids that couldn't pay for counseling. And we wanted to start, you know, a way where they could identify with different problems, you know, because not everybody has, you know, a father or a mom or a brother they can go to, or a coach or a teacher they can go to. You know, there's different ways to communicate with people. So, you know, I think the bill that they were trying to pass was trying to get counselors in schools that lack it right now. I thought every school lacked it, but I visited some schools, and some schools have that. They have the service, you know, but not every school has it. So I'm definitely, you know, I'm going to continue to try to be active. I'm trying to get more, you know, celebrities and athletes involved. So we've been recruited, and it's going pretty well. You know, and the more and more we get the word out, I think the more and more support we get. And you know, we don't know which idea is going to work, but hopefully one of the ideas will stick and make a real difference. Not, you know, not a small difference, but a real change. You know, it's going to be hard, but the more support, like I said, from people like yourself and a lot of people out there care. So the more support we get, I think it can work.
I just want to say, as a social worker and having you speak to us, I'm really honored to actually hear your story and hear what you have to say about the experiences with mental health that you've lived with. And I guess I just want to say thank you for being a role model as an athlete to the children and making a difference. And I think that it has to start somewhere. So I want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I think that's That's all the questions?
Yeah, anybody else have a question? Over here?
I think we have more.
Hi, you'd mentioned getting other celebrity athletes to come forward and talk about this, and I'm just wondering how much success you've had in that, because
Yes.
obviously you have a tremendous impact. And being from Canada, I'd like to see some hockey players come out and do the same thing. So, like, how are you networking, and how can we help you do that?
Yeah, well, it's been hard, you know, like anything. When you're dealing with, you know, athletes, celebrities, entertainers, you know, it's hard to go to them with an idea. You have to show and prove. So what we've been doing is trying to show and prove, and working with the LA County Department for Mental Health. It helped us out a lot so they can see the things that we're doing. Melissa helped us out a lot, all the campaigns that she put together. And I think the more and more structure, we was actually in DC and we was trying to, you know, set up a couple different things. We was meeting with Congresswoman and she set up a meeting, but she was so busy, so it was important that we followed up, but a lot of us didn't follow up. It's still in our minds, but I think there's ways, you know, to get the people excited. It's just about sitting down and coming up with ways to get people excited. And I think it's a cool thing. It's fun to see people, you know, improve themselves. It actually, for me, it's entertaining, to tell you the truth. You know, I love it. I love going to visit. We went to Orange County Prison, talked to the inmates. You know, and some of these inmates have done some bad things, but you ask them, you know, how was your childhood? That's our first question. And we work with some Arkansas prisons, and I want to know, I want information, so I can give it back. And it's entertaining, it's fun for me, honestly, to be able to be in a situation where I can give back. So we just gotta let these, I just let people know it was fun. And one of our first recruits was JoJo. I'm not sure if you're familiar with JoJo. She's a teen Disney star. She's older now. And she's really excited. And she just wants to be a part. And we're gonna try to work with other people, such as Terrell Owens, and, you know, we're trying to work with Chad Johnson now also, and other celebrities also. And we're gonna start right there, and then build it from right there. And they'll see the impact. You know, it's fun when you help people. That's what they gotta understand.
Anybody else have a question?
How are the Lakers going to do next year?
Well, Lakers, we need chemistry. Once we get that, we'll be okay. You know, once we get that, we'll be okay. But, you know, it was an unfortunate season, but the best team won, I'll tell you that. It wasn't us. We weren't the best team. It's that we had the best names. You know, we had the best names and biggest salaries for the least amount of wins. So we got to try to change that. We got lucky. I had to play on one leg for us to make the playoffs. But yeah, we should be okay. We should be okay. I think we can still win a championship.
Sure.
Yeah, we can still win it. I need to win it so I can raffle off another ring.
All right. At this time, I'd like to welcome Dr. Mark Souther back up to the microphone.
Thank you for having me.
So once again, I want to thank Metta World Peace for being here with us and sharing the strategy that we're all going to use to try to decrease the stigma and make sure that we do what all of us as social workers want to do, which is to make sure that everyone is included. We do our best work by trying to include everyone in the circle of our community. And so Metta has shown us one way of approaching that, and we each make our own contribution to that effort. So thank you for being here this evening. Thank you, Metta, for coming, and see you all tomorrow morning. Thank you.